The Breguet 19 was a light bomber and reconnaissance aircraft, also used for long-distance flights, designed by the French Breguet company and produced from 1924. Development. The Breguet 19 was designed as a successor to a highly successful World War I light bomber, the 14. Initially, it was designed to be powered by a 340 kW Bugatti U-16 engine, driving a four-blade propeller, and such a prototype was shown on the 7th Paris Air Show in November 1921. A new design was flown in March 1922, featuring a conventional layout with a single 340 kW Renault 12 kilobits inline engine. The aircraft was built in a sesquiplane platform, with lower wings substantially smaller than the upper ones. After trials, the Breguet 19 was ordered by the French Army's Aéronautique Militaire in September 1923. The first 11 Breguet 19 prototypes were powered by a number of different engines. A trademark of Breguet was the wide usage of duralumin as a construction material, instead of steel or wood. At the time, the aircraft was faster than other bombers, and even some fighter aircraft. Therefore, it met with a huge interest in the world, strengthened by its sporting successes. Mass production for the Aéronautique Militaire and export started in France in 1924. Design. The Breguet 19 was a biplane, conventional in layout, with braced wings. The fuselage, ellipsoid in cross-section, was a frame of duralumin pipes. The front part was covered with duralumin sheets, the tail with canvas. The wings were canvas-covered. It had a conventional fixed landing gear with rear skid. A crew of 2, pilot and observer bombardier, sat in tandem in open cockpits, with dual controls. A wide variety of engine types were fitted, mostly water-cooled V12 or W12 inline engines, including the following: Breguet Bugatti U-16, 370 kW BR19N degree 01, BR23. Farman 12 WE, 370 kW BR19-5. Noman Amp Rhone 9 AB Jupiter, 310 kW. Noman Amp Rhone 9C Jupiter, 310 kW BR19-4. Noman Amp Rhone 14 KBRS, 520 kW BR19-8. Hispano-Suiza 12 HAR, 340 kW BR19N degree 09. Hispano-Suiza 12 HB, 370 kW BR19B2, BR19CN2, BR19-6. Hispano-Suiza 12 pound, 450 kW BR19 Hispano-Suiza 12 NB, 480 kW BR19-7. Hispano-Suiza 12 YBRs, 640 kW BR19-9. Renault 12 kilobits, 340 kW BR19N degree 01, 03, 04 and AMP 05. Renault 12 KD, 360 kW BR19N degree 06, 07, 08, 010 and AMP 012. Liberty L12, 340 kW BR19 bis. Lorraine 12 Daltons, 280 kW BR19N degree 02. Lorraine Dietrich 12 DB, 300 kW V12. Lorraine Dietrich 12 EB, 340 kW BR19N degree 011. Lorraine Dietrich 12 ED, W12. Lorraine Dietrich 12 HFRS, 540 kW BR19-10, BR230. Samson 18 CMA, 370 kW BR19-3. a fixed 7.7 mm Vickers machine gun with an interrupter gear was operated by the pilot, while the observer had twin 7.7 mm Lewis guns. There was also a fourth machine gun, which could be fired by the observer downwards through an opening in the floor. The Bridge 19CN2 night fighter variant was fitted with two pilots' machine guns. The bomber variant could carry up to 472 kilograms of bombs under the fuselage, or in a vertical bomb bay. The reconnaissance variant could carry 12 by 10 kilograms bombs. The reconnaissance variant had a camera mounting, which was optional on the bomber variant. All variants had radio. Operational history. The Breguet had its baptism of fire during the Greco-Italian War in World War II. At the outbreak of war, 18 Breguet were online with one observation Myra under I Corps command, based at Perugiale, near Corinth, and with two observation Myra under 2nd Corps command, based at Larissa and Kozani. On the 4th of November 1940, RHAF Breguet from 2 Myra was sent looking for the attacking 3rd Julia Alpine Division, locating it in a mountain pass near Metzevo. 3 more Breguets sent to bomb the Italian division were in turn attacked by 3 Fiat CR-42 fighters. A Breguet was shot down, 1 crash-landed and the 3rd returned to base, though badly shot up. Variants. BR 19.01. BR 19.01 was the first Breguet 19 prototype which first flew in March 1922. It was later bought by the Spanish government. BR 19.02-2011. Pre-production aircraft, whose fuselage was lengthened by 600 mm. The Bridge 19.02 was sent to Yugoslavia for evaluation in 1923. BR 19A2. 2-seat reconnaissance aircraft. BR 19B2. 2-seat light bomber biplane. These first two variants were the most numerous, and were practically identical. They used a variety of engines, the most popular being the 300 kW Lorraine Dietrich 12DB, the 340 kW Lorraine Dietrich 12EB, the Renault 12K, the Hispano Suiza 12H and the Farman 12W. BR 19CN2. Night fighter version, almost identical to the B-2 reconnaissance variant with 2 additional forward-firing machine guns. BR 19GR. A variant specially modified for long-distance flights after early long-range attempts were made with the regular BR 19A2 23 fitted with additional fuel tanks. The first BR 19GR had a fuel tank of about 2,000 L and captured the world distance record in 1925. In 1926, 3 further aircraft were modified to BR 19GR 3,000 liters specifications. They had larger fuel tanks fitted in the fuselage, with a total capacity of about 2,900 to 3,000 L. The cockpit was moved slightly aft, and the wingspan was increased to 14.83 meters. The 3 aircraft were fitted with different engines. The first one had a 370 kW Hispano Suiza 12HB. The others had 410 kW Renault 12K and 390 kW Farman 12WERS engines. In 1927, No. 1685 received a new 450 kW Hispano 12-pound engine. Its fuel capacity was extended to 3,500 L and its wingspan was further increased by 1 meter. It was christened Nungasare Coli after the 2 airmen who disappeared in a transatlantic flight attempt in May 1927. A 5th aircraft was built, for Greece, called Hellas, with a 410 kW Hispano 12HB, BR-19 TR Beaton. built in 1927 with various aerodynamical refinements and 3,735 L of fuel in the fuselage, with an additional fuel tank in the wing. The total fuel capacity was 4,125 L. 5 were built by Breguet and 2 by the Spanish company Casa. 3 of the French aircraft had a 450 kW Hispano Suiza 12-pound, 1 had a 410 kW Renault 12K, and 1 had a 340 kW Lorraine 12EB. The first Beaten Hispano was sold to Belgium, and a Beaten Renault was sold to China after a Paris-Beijing flight. The third Beaten Hispano became the French Breguet 19 TF. The second Spanish Beaten was christened Jesus del Gran Poder, and flew from Seville to Bahia. BR 19 TF Super Beaten, the last and most advanced long-distance variant, built in 1929, and designed for transatlantic flight. The French Super Beaten was the third BR 19 TR Hispano, named point d'interrogation, with a modified fuselage, a wingspan of 18.3 meters, and 5,370 L total fuel capacity. It was powered by a 450 kW Hispano Suiza 12-pound engine, later replaced by a 480 kW Hispano Suiza 12NLB. Another aircraft, with a closed canopy, was built in Spain in 1933. Christened Cuatro Vientos, it flew from Seville to Cuba, and disappeared while attempting to reach Mexico. BR 19 TR. Utilizing the experience with long-distance variants, this improved reconnaissance variant was developed in 1928, maybe for export purposes. It remained a prototype only. BR 19.7. The most popular of the late variants developed in 1930 with a 450 kW Hispano Suiza 12NB engine, giving a maximum speed of 242 km per hour. The first 5 machines were converted in France for Yugoslavia, then a number were built in Yugoslavia, and a further 50 built in France for export to Turkey. BR 19.8. With a 580 kW Ride GR1820F56 Cyclone radial engine, 48 BR 19.7 airframes were eventually completed as BR 19.8s in Yugoslavia. The maximum speed was 279 km per hour. BR 19.9. A single prototype developed in Yugoslavia with a 640 kW Hispano Suiza 12YBR's engine. BR 19.10. A single prototype developed in Yugoslavia with a 540 kW Lorraine Dietrich 12HFRS petrol engine. BR 19 Hydro. Fitted with twin floaters of seaplane, a single prototype was produced for France. Another aircraft sold to Japan was fitted with floats built by Nakajima. Nakajima Breguet reconnaissance seaplane. Nakajima built Breguet 19A2B seaplanes. Some modified civilian variants of the Breguet 19 were developed, such as the BR 19T, the BR 19 T-Bis and the BR 19 Limousine, but these were never built. Further passenger variants with modified fuselages were designated Breguet Bridge 26D, Breguet Bridge 26D SBIs, Breguet Bridge 280T, Breguet Bridge 281T, Breguet Bridge 284T. These were used in limited numbers in France and Spain. In total, more than 2,000 Breguet 19s were manufactured in France, and about 700 licensed built by Spanish Casa, Japanese Nakajima, Belgian SABCA and the Yugoslavian aircraft factory in Kraljevo. Operators: Argentina. Argentine Air Force operated 25 Lorraine Dietrich 12EB powered aircraft. Belgian Air Force bought 6 BR-19 B-2S in 1924, and further 146 A-2S and B-2S were manufactured in under license by the SABCA Works in 1926–30. They were powered with Lorraine Dietrich 12 band, Hispano-Suiza 12H engines, and used until the mid-1930s. Bolivian Air Force bought 10 aircraft and used them during the Chaco War against Paraguay. Brazilian Air Force operated 5 aircraft. China Manchurian warlord Zhang Zuolin is claimed to have ordered 70 Breguet 19s, but these were not delivered. Similarly, an order for 4 BR-19s from the central government was not met. Manchuria did acquire a single BR-19A2 in 1926 and a BR-19GR in 1929. Independent state of Croatia's Zrakoplovstvo Nezavisno Drave Hrvatski seized 46 aircraft used for anti-partisan missions. France. The French Army's Aéronautique Militaire operated its first Breguet 19s in the A2 variant from the autumn of 1924, the B2 variant from June 1926, then the fighter C2 and CN2 variants. In the late 1920s and early 1930s, they were the most numerous French combat aircraft. In metropolitan France, they were withdrawn from service in the early 1930s. The last BR-19 CN2 was withdrawn in 1935. Until 1938, they were still used by the French Air Force in colonies in the Middle East and North Africa, among others. They were used there to suppress native rebellions. French Navy. Greece. Hellenic Air Force acquired 30 Breguet 19A2s and some were used against invading Italian forces in 1940, delivering valuable information on Italian movements. Italy. Regia Aeronautica bought 1 aircraft for tests. Japan. According to some publications, Japan bought a number, and they were license-built in Nakajima, though this is not confirmed. Apart from the 2 aircraft bought by the Asahi Shimbun newspaper, Iranian Air Force operated 2 aircraft. Poland. Polish Air Force bought 250 Breguet 19A2s and B2s with 340 kilowatts Lorraine Dietrich 12 engines. In 1925–30, 20 aircraft were reportedly the longer-range reconnaissance variant, but details are not known. The first BR-19 entered Polish service in 1926, but most were delivered in 1929–30. They were withdrawn from combat units in 1932–37, and used in training units until 1939. They were not used in combat during the invasion of Poland of 1939 and most were destroyed on the ground. Romania. Royal Romanian Air Force bought 50 Breguet 19A2s and B2s in 1927, then 108 BR-19 B2s, and 5 BR-19.7s in 1930. They were in service until 1938. Soviet Union. Soviet Air Force bought 1 aircraft for tests. Kingdom of Spain and AMP. Spanish Republic. Aeronautica Militar bought a prototype and a license in 1923, and started production in the Casa Works, in A2 and B2 variants. The first 19 aircraft were imported, the next 26 completed from French parts, then 177 were manufactured. The Breguet 19 was the basic equipment of Spanish bomber and reconnaissance units until the initial period of the Spanish Civil War. In July 1936, there were less than 100 in service in the Spanish Republican Air Force. They were actively used as bombers during the war war, especially on the government's side. In 1936, the nationalists bought an additional 20 from Poland through the SEPEWE syndicate. With an advent of more modern fighters, the BR-19 suffered many losses, and after 1937 were withdrawn from frontline service. The Republican side lost 28 aircraft, and nationalists lost 10. The remaining aircraft were used for training until 1940. Turkish Air Force bought 20 BR-19 B2S, then 50 BR-19.7S in 1932. Some of these aircraft were used in bombardment and reconnaissance missions during the Dersim Rebellion. United Kingdom Royal Air Force bought 1 aircraft for tests. Uruguayan Air Force. Venezuelan Air Force operated 12 aircraft. Kingdom of Yugoslavia Yugoslav Royal Air Force bought 100 BR-19A2S in 1924, and in 1927 acquired a license to manufacture them in a new factory in Kraljevo. The first batch of 85 aircraft were assembled from French parts, and a further 215 were built from scratch. The first 150 aircraft in Yugoslavian service had Lorraine Dietrich engines. The next 150 to 370 kilowatts Hispano-Suiza 12 HB engines, and the last 100 to 310 kilowatts Gnome Jupiter 9 AB radial engines. From 1932, the BR-19.7 variant was manufactured. The first 5 were built in France, the next 75 in Kraljevo, and a further 48 aircraft, lacking engines, were completed in 1935 to 1937 as BR-19.8S, with 580 kilowatts Wright Cyclone radial engines. Some of these Yugoslavian aircraft were used in combat after the German attack on Yugoslavia in 1941. Yugoslavia SFR Yugoslav Air Force operated 1 Croatian Bridge 19 taken by its pilot and delivered to the partisans of Tito, and used in June to July 1942, until it was shot down. Another 2, captured by the new communist government forces in April 1945, were used to pursue Ustashas. Record variants. Both standard and modified Breguet 19s were used for numerous record-breaking flights. The first was the BR-19 prototype, which won a military aircraft speed contest in Madrid on 17 February 1923. On 12 March 1923, it also set an international altitude record of 5,992 meters carrying a 500 kilograms load. It was later bought by the Spanish government. Many crews made long-distance flights in BR-19s. In February 1925, Thierry flew from Brussels to Leopoldville in Central Africa, a distance of 8,900 kilometers. 2 Bridge 19A2S were bought by the Japanese Asahi Shimbun newspaper and fitted with additional fuel tanks. They were flown by Abe and K. Kouachi on the Tokyo-Paris-London route in July 1925, covering 13,800 kilometers. Between the 27th of August and the 25th of September 1926, the Polish crew of Bolesław Orliński flew to the Warsaw-Tokyo route and back in a modified BR-19A2, despite the fact that one of its lower wings was broken on the way. Between 1927 and 1930, Romanian, Yugoslavian and Polish Bridge 19s were often used in Little Entente air races. Breguet 19 GRs and TRs set several world records, mostly of long-distance non-stop flights, starting with Arachat and Lemaitr's 3,166 kilometers flight from Paris to Villa Cisneros in 24.5 hours on 2–3 February 1925. On 14–15 July 1926, Guerrier and Daudeley set a new record of 4,716 kilometers between Paris and Omsk, beaten on 31 August 1 September by Chal and Vise's 5,174 kilometers, and on the 28th of October by Judon Cosson-Rignot's 5,450 kilometers. For the 10th of October 1927, the 14th of April 1928, Cosson-Lebrix flew a BR-19 GR around the world, covering 57,000 kilometers, though the journey between San Francisco and Tokyo was taken by ship. The Superbeeden was created especially for the purpose of a transatlantic flight. It was named Point d'interrogation. Dudon Cosson Maurice Bellonte set a non-stop distance record of 7,905 kilometers from Paris to Moulins on 27–29 September 1929 on this aircraft. Then on 1–2 September 1930, they flew from Paris to New York City, a distance of 6,200 kilometers, making the first non-stop east-west crossing by a fixed-wing aircraft of the North Atlantic. The second Superbeeden, the Spanish Cuatro Vientos, vanished over Mexico with M. Barberin and J. Colosera after a transatlantic flight from Seville to Cuba on 10–11 June 1933. Specifications. Data from the Encyclopedia of World Aircraft. General characteristics. Crew. 2. Length 9.61 meters. Wingspan 14.83 meters. Height 3.69 meters. Wing area 50 square meters. Empty weight 1,387 kilograms. Max takeoff weight 2,500 kilograms. Fuel capacity 365 L. Power plant 1 times Lorraine 12 Edgulis W12 liquid-cooled piston engine 340 kilowatts. Performance maximum speed 214 kilometers per hour. Range 800 kilometers. Service ceiling 7,200 meters. Armament guns, 1 times fixed, forward-firing 7.7 mm Vickers machine gun, and 2 flexible, rearward-firing 7.7 mm Lewis guns. Bombs, provision for light bombs. Surviving aircraft. Breguet Bridge, 19 Giano, 1685 Nunga-sur-École, in the Musée de l'Aérodrome of Le Bourget, near Paris. Casabiar, 19 Tarbiden Jesus del Gran Poder, in the Museo del Cuatro Vientos, Madrid. Breguet Bridge, 19 TF Superbeeden Point d'interrogation, in the Musée de l'Aérodrome. Bibliography.